Giulia hospitalized after Blake Monroe brutally attacks her backstage. Imagine standing in the center of the ring, bright lights shining down, pyrotechnics booming, and millions of fans screaming your name, only to realize your opponent never makes it out of the gorilla position because they are currently being scraped off the backstage concrete. If you thought WWE Friday Night SmackDown was going to be a smooth, standard night of classic professional wrestling action, you clearly forgot that chaos is the default setting around here. Before we dive into this absolute crime scene of a backstage assault, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button right now and slap that notification bell icon. It takes less than 2 seconds, keeps you completely up to speed on every single shockwave hitting the WWE universe, and ensures you never miss a beat here on Wrestling Rush News. Done it? Perfect. Now, back to the madness. SmackDown was supposed to feature the highly anticipated, heavily hyped in-ring debut of Blake Monroe. WWE had been pumping out vignettes for weeks, hyping her up like the second coming of total destructive force. Fans were settled into their seats, popcorn in hand, ready to see what she could do between the ropes. But instead of walking down the entrance ramp, Blake decided to turn the backstage area into her personal demolition derby. Out of absolutely nowhere, Blake Monroe caught Giulia completely off guard. We are not talking about a basic double-leg takedown or a polite verbal disagreement. We are talking about a blindside, high-impact, total obliteration that looked less like a professional wrestling rivalry and more like a scene straight out of a summer blockbuster action movie. Medical staff were scrambling like frantic chickens, officials were yelling for help, and within minutes, Giulia was loaded onto a stretcher and rushed straight to a local medical facility with serious injuries. Brace yourself, because this was not some random, isolated surge of temper. Blake Monroe has spent the last few weeks turning the WWE backstage area into an unhinged, unsafe work environment. Think about the pattern here. If you've been paying attention to Friday nights, Blake has been stalking the hallways like a total menace, dropping superstars left and right behind closed doors. She is essentially treating the WWE roster like a video game, where you skip the actual matches and just hit the backstage brawl button continuously. Superstars are walking around catering, looking over their shoulders like they're surviving a thriller movie, never knowing if a steel chair or a heavy equipment crate is about to come flying into their peripheral vision. You might be wondering why Blake Monroe would intentionally sabotage her own major televised ring debut just to take out Giulia. Now you might ask, is she running scared, or is this the ultimate psychological mind game? Imagine preparing for months to make your grand splash on live television, only to throw the entire match into the trash bin just to send a terrifying message to the entire women's division. By taking out Giulia, a superstar known worldwide for her stiff strikes, ironclad reputation, and absolute refusal to back down, Blake just leapfrogged the entire line. She essentially declared that formal match contracts, official referee counts, and bell-to-bell rules are completely beneath her. Why bother grinding through a 15-minute classic in front of the audience when you can destroy your biggest threat in 30 seconds behind a curtain? Wait until you see how the internet reacted to this absolute backstage nightmare, because social media blew up faster than a faulty firework within seconds of the news breaking. Twitter and Reddit erupted into absolute mayhem. Memes of security guards running uselessly into frame were flying left and right. Fans were debating whether Blake should be suspended immediately, and Giulia's massive global fan base went into total outrage mode. The comment sections were locked in a fierce battle between people calling Blake a ruthless criminal who needs to be fined into oblivion, and people praising her for being the most chaotic, unhinged heel WWE has seen in years. So, what does this vicious assault mean for the future of SmackDown and the entire women's division? Whew, talk about a total power vacuum and an absolute administrative headache for WWE management. With Giulia currently sitting in a hospital bed undergoing evaluations, the top of the division is thrown into complete disarray. Blake Monroe has effectively turned herself into the biggest target on the roster, while simultaneously establishing herself as the most dangerous woman in the building. Official match or no official match, she just proved that no one is safe, no backstage hallway is secure, and rules are merely optional suggestions to her. when Giulia eventually gets cleared by doctors to make her return, and you better believe she's coming back with an absolute vengeance, the fallout is going to be an absolute unadulterated war. We are talking about a collision course that cannot be contained inside a standard four-sided ring. This has Hell in a Cell, Street Fight, and Last Woman Standing written all over it. What a breathtaking, high-octane display of backstage mayhem and total anarchy. Good day, and thank you so much for watching Wrestling Rush News.